All right, so I just started the recording to make sure that we don't miss anything.
I think it's pretty cool that SoundTree does this. You guys have started this and got a lot of webinars already out there.
Yeah, I'm doing one tomorrow night on Reason 4.0. Okay, so we have all right. Somebody asked the question and then took it back. That's cool.
So I'm using the stick. Go ahead.
Are you doing a Mused chat right after this?
There is. There's going to be a Mused chat right after this. So I mean, we'll probably wrap things up about 5 minutes early so people can get ready for that if they want to participate. We're certainly going to talk about that today a little bit.
Okay. Very cool.
Each time we hear the phone, is that somebody logging on?
That's somebody logging in. Yep.
Okay. Can I forget the mic on? Don't watch it. Don't do anything funny. I got my iPad to print, so contrary to popular belief, you can print from an iPad. Printing to my PCs. It's very cool.
I don't want to hear it, Joe. I don't want to hear it. I'm so jealous.
In time. I do love it, though, the fact I can print now. All right, so I can't see the people raising the hands right now, but when you pass control, I'll see that, right?
Yes, you will.
Okay. Ooh.
All right, Joe, are you ready?
Yeah, ready whenever you are.
All right, folks. I'm Jim Frankel, and I am the Managing Director of SoundTree, and I'm a huge fan of what's been going on over the past few months with the Mused chat on Twitter. And so when Joe Pisano came to me and said, would it be possible to use the SoundTree webinar tool to meet the folks on, before a Mused chat, I said absolutely. For those of you that are unfamiliar with SoundTree, we're the educational division of Korg USA, and we are a reseller of over 300 product lines, everything from software, microphones, recording studios, video cameras, everything. What I'd like to offer you tonight as a thank you for joining the webinar is a coupon code. If you go to our store, if you go to SoundTree.com and click on the store, I've created a coupon code just for this group. It is Twitter 2010, and if you just enter the code Twitter 2010 on your any kind of purchase on our online store, which again is SoundTree.com, and just click on the store, that'll take 10% off any of your purchases, and it's free shipping, and that coupon does not expire. So I'm hoping that you'll take advantage of that, and it's just a way to say thank you for following the Mused chat and SoundTree on Twitter. One other request before I turn everything over to Joe is that if you are on Facebook, I strongly recommend checking out our Facebook page. We do daily updates, tech tips, and products of the day, and I hope you'll be able to fan us on Facebook. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn things over now to Joe Pisano, who's a very good friend of mine and is doing fantastic things. I am now, clicking on Joe. There we go. And I'm changing his role to presenter. So, Joe, we should be, there you are. You should be good to go at this point. Are you there, Joe? can't hear you, Joe. I'm sorry. You should be the host and the presenter. Joe, are you there? Can somebody raise your hand if you can hear me? I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, now I'm the presenter again. So let's try that one more time so Andy can hear me, so I know I'm on. Joe Pisano, I am now going to, again, change your role to presenter. For some reason, Joe, we can't hear you. Let me see if I can get this going. I'm going to unmute everybody. Just so you're warned, everyone will be unmuted right now. Joe, can we hear you? Joe? Technology. Joe, can you hear me? I'm sorry, folks. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to try that one more time. Believe it or not, we rehearsed this.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to mute everybody.
Bye.
All right, Joe. Let's see what's going on here. I'm not sure. I don't know what's happening. Joe? Can anyone hear Joe? Joe? Well, this is fun. I'm trying my best. Joe, are you there? All right. I'm sticking to this, folks.
Having fun? Can you hear me, Jim?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sure. Yeah, this is Andy. What about if you try reconnecting into the WebEx?
Okay, am I back now? I can hear you.
Oh, there you go. Good.
We can hear. All right. So, Joe, I'm going to ask.
Gosh.
Everything's fine.
Okay.
So, do you have the host controls, Joe?
Yeah, I do have the host controls. I just couldn't. Nothing was working there for a second.
All right. So you're all good. Everyone, we're back, and Joe is on. So take it away, Joe.
You gotta love that, right? Oh my gosh, that was just crazy. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna share my desktop here real quick. Hopefully you can see this.
I can see it, Joe.
Minimize.
I've got a green screen.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. So great. Okay. All right. All right. Excellent. Okay. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna I'm gonna put something up here. Okay, all right, so you guys should be seeing the first slide there, yes?
Yep.
All right, fantastic. All right, well, we're going to talk a little bit. I turned my monitor off just in case, not my monitor, but my video off, just in case that was a problem. So I want to start today talking a little bit about this concept called PLNs. It's fairly new. A lot of us throw this term around pretty casually, but a lot of folks don't really know what that is per se. A PLN can stand for a couple of things. Mainly, you'll hear it thrown out as a personal learning network, but I like to talk about PLNs as a professional learning network. So either way, if you see PLN, it could mean either or, professional learning network, or it could mean a personal learning network. Personal learning networks are not new. These are things that we think are new because we haven't heard the term before, but really, we're talking about personal learning networks, they go back well before technology. These can be things from anything. Let me just go ahead and skip here to the next one. Hopefully you guys can see this here. Let's see. Okay. Should I switch over? I'm switching over here. Okay, let's try one more time. Oh, man, so great. So it's going backwards. There we go. Okay. All right, we're making progress here. Sorry about the technical difficulties here. These are things that go back to almost anything. Your own personal learning network starts with your parents, then maybe your siblings, and then maybe quite possibly it's your friends. It can be anything. So a personal learning network isn't a new concept, but what's new is how we're implementing this today. I have some terms here up on the page that we're going to talk about real quick. PLNs, global learning networks, PLEs, personal learning environments. This personal learning environments is actually kind of cool. You'll see a lot of students now creating their own personal learning environments, and they can be anything from desktops to web pages to things that help them learn. PLCs, personal learning communities, social media, social networks, personal professional teaching environments. So there's a lot of these things that are up there. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to try and put my video back up and see what happens for us. Okay, if you can see my video now and you can still hear me, go ahead and just raise your hand real quick.
We can all see you, Joe.
Okay, wonderful. I'm seeing the hands go up now. Fantastic. Okay. So this concept of personal learning networks as it pertains to us as educators and in this Web 2.0 environment is new. The internet, broadband, things like Twitter, things like Google Buzz. Actually, there's a Yahoo Buzz too. It's a little bit confusing, but it's a similar type of thing. They're allowing us to connect and do things that we've never had possible before. So let's talk a little bit about these things. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of things. I'm going to put my screen back up. Hopefully we'll get this up here. I'm going to share my desktop again. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. Okay, we're going to switch slides on it. Okay, let's see if we can see that. Takes a couple seconds for this to switch. Okay, so here we have social learning networks. Why are we talking about this now? Well, because it is different. So let's switch over to this slide because I've already talked about that a little bit. I'm getting a little bit befuddled. I never get befuddled. Hope everyone's having a good time. In the context of a professional learning network, PLNs are simply extending learning and they're extending education. I think one of the important things about PLNs to talk about is it's a bi-directional process. It's the teacher learns, the student teaches. It's bi-directional. Thus, we use the term collaboration quite a bit. We talk about a collaborative environment where mutual learning is going on back and forth. In a web-based PLN, the process includes connecting, sharing, and collaborating, which is, of course, teaching and learning. Social media. Social media. Let's talk about what social media is. Social media is media that allows us to talk with other people. It doesn't necessarily have to be an educational environment. It can just simply be an informational environment. As a matter of fact, a lot of people think of Twitter and they think of Facebook, people that really don't get into some of the more useful aspects of it as a whole bunch of trivial information, of useless information that goes out there. A lot of people that don't use Twitter that know a little bit about it think, well, why do I want to know when somebody's putting their socks on? Or why do I want to know what you think about a television show or your trip to the store? But the truth is, one of the very cool things that's been happening now for a little bit over a year, maybe even 2 years, is the educational community has really tapped into this environment. The educational community has figured out how to make educational capital out of these social media networks. And one of the ways that they're doing that is they're creating professional and personal learning networks. Social media in and of itself doesn't have to necessarily be a professional or a personal learning network. It can simply be a set of tools that allow us to create a personal learning network. I'm going to try something here. We're going to see if it works here. I have a question on the bottom that says, when we first looked at Twitter, we all thought, and then I'm going to just drag a window over here. Let's see if this works. I'm going to drag it from my other screen. Now, this is a program called Pool Everywhere. You can do this one of two ways. Can you all see this now, Jim? Can you see this?
I can see it.
Can you see this, Tony?
Yes, I can.
What I want to do is pool and then type code 14126 141 or 141.
See, Joe, your audio is cutting up quite a bit.
Online.
I would just ask that if anybody is sharing their video other than Joe, please stop sharing it at this time so we can free up the bandwidth.
Okay, so let's do this. Yeah. Not sure why. I have a pretty large bandwidth over here, but I thought there was having some kind of issue. Okay. Jim, okay, so can you guys see this again now?
Right now we're back to the main slide, Joe.
I'm going to go ahead and reshare that screen real quick. Okay, I'm going to reshare the screen real quick. Okay. All right, so we're back up. All right, so now hopefully you all can hear me well. Sorry about the video thing. You can see up here, we're just going to go ahead and you can actually use tweet. You can just tweet an @pool LL in one of these codes, or you can go ahead and just text code. Text the code to 233 and that'll come up. We're going to come back to this here in a couple seconds. So I'll let it up just for another minute. Jim, are you hearing me well now and seeing the screen okay?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to pull this back and continue with this. Okay. Sorry, I usually do not have these kind of technical difficulties. You got to love that today. All right, let's do this. Okay, we back on this again. Should be back up.
Yep. See your desktop.
Okay. All right. I'm going to continue on. Sorry about the trouble we're having here. And educate. You see the desktop, great. All right. So educational uses. One of the things when we look at Twitter as kind of it's kind of a binding agent. I look at Twitter right now as something in particular that's allowing me and allowing a lot of my friends the abilities to do things that we've never done. I know that I've been blogging for almost 5 years. Jim's been blogging for a number of years as well. A lot of us have had blogs. A number of us very quickly adopted Facebook. A number of us comment on each other's sites, and we've tried to create social communities that allow us to have conversations, to discuss, to actually create a personal learning network of sorts. And so we've had those things, but what we didn't have before that is have something like Twitter. Twitter, one of the things that makes it so amazing is that it has this huge third-party support. So what does that mean? That means that you can build a Twitter app for Facebook. You can build a Twitter app for MySpace. You can build a Twitter app for almost anything, so you can easily integrate Twitter into anything. That's really one of the keys that's really starting to unlock the potential of personal learning networks, because there are a lot of great smaller networks out there, but they're not all integrated yet. They're not all easily used. A lot of times you have to sign up for something, or you have to be involved in something. What I like to see professional learning networks is I'd like to see them to be able to share information and not necessarily have to charge for being shared for information. So I see a lot of application for tools that allow us to disseminate good information about music, about technology, about music performance, about education. And Twitter is one of these really cool things that allows us to get that information out. One of the strengths of Google, and I'm putting there, is the 140 characters. And you might be wondering, well, why in the world is that a strength? Well, a lot of times people can get too wordy, and so we put it out there. You have to come up with a succinct. You have to think about it, put it out there, come up with a complete thought in 140 characters. Well, of course, that's also very much one of its weaknesses. Another major weakness of Twitter is the lack of built-in threading. So what does that mean? It's a little bit difficult. If I have a conversation with multiple people, sometimes if other people are jumping in, I can't really get the idea of the conversations in a context. Threading is that ability to be able to thread. Actually, Google Buzz, if you use that, does allow you to do that. Twitter in and of itself is not necessarily designed to be a personal learning network, but what's really cool is a lot of us have been using it as a personal learning network. When we talk about, when we go ahead and we talk about something online, we'll go into Twitter, we'll use a hashtag, is in the sense that we use the music ed chats as hashtags, and we get information. We bounce things off, and we bounce things off of each other. So in some sense it's a PLN, but it's not really overly conducive to having in-depth, thoughtful conversations. It certainly sparks conversations. One of the really cool things that happens with the ed chats and the Muse ed chats is all this information is flying by very quickly. If you've ever participated in one, you'll have a chance to do that here in just a little bit. But the information flies by, and you're reading something, you catch something, you respond to it, you put it up. What's really cool is what happens the next day. When people have taken the topic concept, they've read the hundreds of tweets that went out, and then they start blogging out those concepts. Or actually, some people blog in anticipation of those concepts as well. So here's a page. We're going to switch to this page that shows early social media-based PLN educational projects. Of course, there's the Ed Chat. Hundreds of people participate in this every Tuesday, that should say. And actually, I was talking to one of the founders of Ed Chat. They said they've actually broken over 1,000 people using that at once, which is mind-boggling to me because the amount of tweets that come from 1,000 people in the course of an hour is in the tens of thousands. So it's a very rapid pace type situation. And of course, that's a limiting factor as well. The Muse Ed Chat. This is new. We started this along with Andy Joel, who is on tonight. When did we start that? Man, but that's got to be what? We're in our third month. Anyways, on that, it's every Monday night at 8 o'clock. And we've had up to 50, 60 people, I think, on there for sure, but we've certainly had at one point almost 600 tweets that happened in the course of an hour. But it was really interesting because one of the things that the boundaries happen when they disappear with countries and even in some sense with language. All of a sudden we have people from Great Britain, we have people from Australia, we have other English native first language companies or people participating in this, and you really start to get different thoughts about education based upon how they do it or how they're doing classes or if they actually have music education in the class or it's extracurricular, and it's really opened my eyes in particular up to some of the things that are going on. I have an entire list here. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put this out as a PDF here, and probably tomorrow, so that everybody can see that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pull it up real quick so that you can see this. So I'm looking at my browser, and let's just go ahead and pull up this chat. No, I have it up here. It all pulls up. Maybe not. Maybe I don't have it. Okay. Oh, here it is right here. Okay. This is a Twitter chat schedule that a couple people actually keep up. This is provided by Robert Swanwick. And if you look at this, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on here, but I'll be able to send you a link, or maybe one of you that has the chat that know how to get here, you can punch it. But there's literally over 140 chats that are going on specific to music education or education. There's a science chat. There's a blog chat. There's just information that's out there uploading. So you can see that people are using this vehicle, Twitter, to disseminate information, get it out there. A couple of what I call personal learning networks in the number one, and perhaps maybe the granddaddy, is called Classroom 2.0. We'll take a look at that. That Classroom 2.0 has over 40,000 people that are involved with it. In the last 2 years, another education-specific PLN has started. They have now over 5,000 people, and it's called the Educators PLN. Now, these are both based on the very common social media platform called Ning. As you know, recently Ning has decided to go from a costless type of solution to a solution now that costs money. A lot of people are leaving Ning. A lot of people are staying. There's still some discussion as to whether or not it's going to be free for educators. The third one on the list down here is Carol Bruce's site, which is very cool, called Music Techie Teachers. She has over 300 people in this personal learning network. She used to be on Ning, but she decided to go ahead and transfer to this site called Groups, GROU.PS. They actually just made that transfer here in the last week. Looks like she's doing very well over on that, and it's specifically a learning network for music educators that use technology, and there's just a tremendous amount of great things happening on there. Recently, there's been a couple of Facebook personal learning networks kind of come up. One is Stand Director. This has over 5,000 people that are part of that. And, there's a company out there called iSchool Band that puts out an application for basically keeping track of your band. It in and of itself is a social network. The Online Music Education Group, Tom West, who's actually on the he's with us tonight here, started this, and this is growing rapidly as well. Of course, the Music Techie Teachers. One of the ones I'm going to show you today is something that I decided to start, and we're calling it the Music Educators PLN, and it uses a very custom, although it's open source, type of social media network called BuddyPress. It's a very, very cool thing. We'll give you a little bit of an overview of that. All right, so a little bit about what makes PLN successful. A lot of people think that, and this is one of the thing that happens to a lot of Facebook groups in particular. Someone will make up a group, a lot of people will join it, but nobody participates in it. The success of a PLN is directly dependent upon the people that use it. It lives and it dies by participation. You have to put something into it to get something out of it. Many times they do take a little bit of time to develop. This is not uncommon. It's very rare that something just starts and it immediately catches on like wildfire. At the end of the day, whatever is successful is usually successful because of a few people that have decided to adopt it and decided to use it and decide to, against all odds in some cases, they decide to make it work. That's actually one of the great success of the Music Ed chat that's going on. Andy, myself, a couple other people, Barb, Tom's now helping us with that. We work at that. We work to get that out. We work to make it happen every week. Even though it's kind of easy to go ahead and put out this chat, there's still a lot of time that it takes to go ahead and publicize that, to do PR. We archive every one of the chats in hope that the Google and Yahoo and all the search engines will read those and get information out. One of the things that I've always tried to do, I know you do as well, Jim, is we try and get information out about what it is we're doing. A lot of times, those of us that are working research or working on projects, we kind of keep that under our hat. Really up to the development of the internet and things getting online, if you wanted to really learn something, if you wanted to find out what was going on, you had to subscribe to a journal. And even at that case, you had to pay to get that journal, and of course that could be 2 or 3 years behind. So what the internet has really allowed us to do is to just have a tremendous amount of collaborative and information pushing type of projects. Here's something we're working on. I'm going to put it out there. What do you think about it? Okay, that's a great idea. Did you look at it this way? Here's some research that we just found out about last week. Let's get that information out there today rather than wait for it to be officially published or sifted through 3 years later when there might even be something different or it may not even apply anymore. At the bottom of this slide, I've put on here a lot of large PLNs. Even if they're large, I'm talking about number size. If they're not active, they're nothing more than, okay, I've joined this. This is something I belong to. It's kind of like in a sense getting into some of the more dubious who's lists. I'm in it. Nobody really cares, but I'm in it. The list itself doesn't mean anything. It's more important that you're on the list. You're not actively participating in it. Okay. I'm going to switch screens a little bit here, real quick. I'm going to actually go over back here to a browser. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going back here to Pool Everywhere. Okay. See on here, I have a question on here. It says, how many of you, should say thought, I just put this together, this particular pool together pretty quick. I thought it might be cool to try it. Something similar when Twitter Face Buzz came out. I thought it was cool, but I never had much use of it. I thought it was good, and I'd never use it, 43%. And, of course, we don't have any percentage right now for people that thought it would have great educational implications. I have to tell you, I was one of those folks on there that thought, wow, this is cool, but I'm never going to use it. Okay. I wanted to just go over to musetech.net. Sorry, my dog's go crazy. I hope that you can't hear him. I have a cocker, not a cocker spaniel. I have a little tiny dog. He's kind of a little bit of everything. All right. So hopefully on here, I did a post, and I just want to not necessarily talk about musetech.net. But I want to talk about a couple of the applications. Jim, can you see these?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. One of the programs we have on here that we use quite a bit. And these are actually Twitter-related applications for specifically that educators can use. One of the really cool applications I saw was called the Archivist. The Archivist is a program that literally allows you to search for keywords, and then you can pull them into spreadsheets so that you can analyze that data later. The Archivist is what we use to archive the MuseEd chat, and since we found that and been using it, it's actually being used to archive most of the chats now that are out there. Another quick one, it's called TweetGrid. This is one of those really cool applications that it's a third-party app that allows you to do something that Twitter doesn't do natively. And if you use TweetGrid, you can pull up conversation threads. You might find somebody that tweeted something in reply to someone, but you don't necessarily know what that conversation was. If you pull up TweetGrid, it's going to allow you to look at all those related conversations. We use TweetPool quite a bit as well, and it's hard to see. I should have put some graphics up in here, but this is helping me think. TweetPool is similar to that pool that we just did. It allows you to put up Twitter-based pools. TweetVen is very cool. TwitterVen allows you to do Venn diagrams. Everyone that's in education has worked with Venn diagrams at one point or another, where you can punch in 2 keywords and you can see how that they interact with each other on Twitter. I can use music and education, for instance, as 2 keywords, and then I can see how many tweets are using music education together. So very, very, very cool application for doing Twitter-based research. TweetML, I want to talk about this real quick, and I'm going to actually go over to this because I have this up. Hopefully you'll see the page change here. TweetML is basically a very cool Twitter list generator where you can follow a whole bunch of people at one time. And I think a lot of people that get on Twitter, they don't really understand the concept of Twitter. If you join Twitter and you're on there and you're tweeting for a while and nobody's following you, you're not really following anybody. You might as well be, going out your back porch and shouting out 140 character sentences because you're not participating with anybody at that point. But what I always tell people is if you really want to see the power of Twitter, find somebody that has created a list or a couple lists already of people that actively use Twitter. So, follow 100, 150 people, and even if nobody's following you, that's okay. Get out there and start following people so that you can see how that we use this. If you're not following at least 100 to 150 people, you're going to get onto Twitter and you're never going to see anything happen on there. But if you're following 500 educators, and there's actually a great educator list on Tweetgle called, it's actually called 500 Educators. You go on and follow all those people. All of a sudden when you go on Twitter, you find a tremendous amount of information that's coming to you. This list I have up here is kind of a vetted list that I'm working on. There'll be an update for this here this week. I'm adding another 12 people to this list. These are all veteran music educators that are also veteran Twitter users. These are people that tweet quite a bit about music, about education, about performance, about music technology. Sure, every once in a while they tweet about something else, but the core of their tweets, these are active users. So if you get on and you go onto this list and you hit follow, you're going to have the beginning of an instant music education PLN list. And I think that's very important for people that are trying to use a social media service like Twitter to do. Get out there, start following people. Don't be afraid to get into the information by watching hundreds and hundreds of people now on Twitter over the years. It's okay questions. Nobody's really going to slam you, especially anyone on the music education list that I have here. So that's one thing that I wanted to show you on here. Okay. How about the Facebook PLN right now? This happens to be, I believe this is Thomas's group that he just started. This is the online music education. This is a great list. If you belong to Facebook, you can become a fan of this page, and anytime it's updated or if people put something to it, you get information. Again, it's a personal learning network that's on Facebook. I'm going to switch over now to Carol Bruce's new one. This is the Music Techie Teachers, and I tell you, this website is it's fantastic. I love this red. I love to see colors in websites. But this is the new grou.ps. It's gru.ps/Music Techie Teachers. And this is a great website for finding information about music technology. Also, for getting information about music technology or just talking about music technology. It's fantastic. It's very integrated. You can, we're going to talk about this in a little bit. You can take Twitter or you can take Facebook and you can get information posted to this site. Groups is a very, very, very cool site. It's a great PLN. Okay. This is Classroom 2.0. This is one of the original Ning sites, and it was created by Steve Hargadon. And there's over 40,000 people on this site. You think, well, how in the world can you keep track of things? Well, you do that through groups. You join a group. One of the things a lot of people do, again, we go back to this badge concept where, oh, I'm on Classroom 2.0, but when's the last time that you actually looked at anything on there or that you updated anything on there? But I can tell you for a fact that Classroom 2.0 is very alive. There's incredible creative and collaborative things happening on the Classroom 2.0 every single day. I'm just going to open up this group here real quick. Right now, looking at a stream of the groups on here. These are the groups. They're the groups for Google Apps for Education, elementary school, middle school math. There's a music group on here. There's a music education group on here. They're not heavily populated though, but they're so this is a great site to check out. Let me put one more site here. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the music PLN. So we're going to show you what we're working on. So this will come up. Okay, let's back and right. We'll pull up the front end right now. Okay, so we're still working out the graphics on here. We got a lot of kinks on here. And actually, you can see it's actually pulling in some of the tweets, which is really cool already on here. But again, this is in the alpha stage right now. But my hope for this particular site is that it's going to be a landing point for music educators. It's going to be free. You're not going to have to pay to be a part of this particular music network. And the beauty of this site, is that we're going to make it very easily integrated into other sites. We're going to be able to pull in Twitter. We're going to be able to post from Twitter to here. That's not something that you can do on Ning and some of the other sites. You can post out, but you can't post in. It's also going to do that with Facebook. In addition, on this site, we have a number of groups starting to pop up, but you have these things called activity streams. Right now, this is all the members. I can go over here. When you belong to a group, it will show you the information in specific groups and who's talking and having conversations in specific groups. We also have an event list on here, which we're going to keep updated. What are the great things that you can participate, like this webinar and other SoundTree webinars and webinars from other people and conferences and all those type of things on here as well in the events list. We also have a very cool link site on here. I'm not going to pull that up at the moment, but the link site allows anybody that's part of this to basically create a link cache. You know, it's not things that aren't necessarily done anywhere else because you can find these things, but our goal is that we hope that we get a group of core people that use this, that become active with this, and that we can take bits and pieces of everybody else's personal learning network, and this can be a sounding board to find out about them. It can be a sounding board to bring that information in. It's specifically going to be for music educators. Right now we're going to go beta with it. I have about 32 people going to be inviting to this already for the beta, and the beta is going to happen on the 23rd. This is going to, well, Lord willing here, this is going to go live on July the 5th for everyone. So we'll get this up and running before well in advance of school. Certainly some band camps will be happening, but we want to get that out there for that. Okay, let's go back to very quickly to the concept of Twitter and the Twitter chat. I'm going to pull this up real quick. This is on Music Ed Major. That's the site. And musicedmajor.net is a great example, incidentally, of a personal learning network. What is this particular personal learning network? And I would really encourage you, if you have access to undergraduates and graduate students, but undergraduates in particular, to let them find out about this site. This is a site that was started by Andy Zweibel, and it's specifically for students that are in the undergraduate, where they can get on here, they can have conversations, they can collaborate, they can read articles that are specifically pertinent to them. Andy also brings in a number of guest posters that write articles for here, as well as a number of other college students that post on here. So it in and of itself is a personal learning network specifically for music ed majors. It's a very cool concept, and he just one day decided he was going to do this, and all of a sudden there it was. So that goes back to the concept of you have to get a core group of people behind something to keep working at it, and basically until people go, oh, okay, well, this is going to stick around, and we're going to use it. Once you get to that point, I call it the tipping point, all of a sudden things start to happen by themselves, and the usage and then the educational capital that you gain from it grows extensively. So I'm just going to pull up here on the Music Ed chat so you can see This is the centers he had page. Every 8 p.m. Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time right now, that's very confusing. Myself, I never had to deal with that until we started dealing with people from Great Britain and from Ireland and from Australia. So now we talk about the GMT time as well. I'm just going to show you this real quick before we get into this, and I'm going to take some questions as well. Here's the Music Ed chat archive. If you go down through this, you can find transcripts from over 13 chats that we've done, which contain thousands and thousands of information about particular topics. So here's an example of using social media to basically deal with the concept of professional development. Now, that's going to be something that I don't have time to talk about, but that's something that's coming. That's something that we're going to be talking about extensively in the next year to 2 years with online venues. Can we use Web 2.0? Can we use professional learning networks to meet the needs of professional development? Not all the needs, but some of the needs, or maybe even many of the needs for professional development K through 12. or even beyond that. Think about it. How many of you go to professional development seminars and they're talking about something that doesn't pertain to you, or you could use an online professional learning network to talk about a topic that does pertain to you. And there's also a lot of, whether you agree with this or not, but it's certainly in the discussion stage right now. There's a lot of talking about giving people continuing ed credits for being active in PLNs. At one time we thought it was crazy to take online courses. You can get those now. Now we're saying, well, it might be kind of crazy to get continuing ed credits through professional learning networks, but there's actually some people already starting to do that, so it's coming. The discussion is happening. So real quick, I want to talk a little bit about the MuseEd chat, and then I'm going to stop here in about 1 minute. I use TweetGrid. TweetGrid's a little bit confusing for the MuseEd chat. If you're not a real Twitter user, I don't want to say a real Twitter user, but if you're not active all the time on Twitter, but TweetGrid is really cool for me because I can go to this 1x3 and basically I can see tweets that happen at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to punch in the hashtag that we use, which is MuseEdChat in the middle here. I'm going to search, and then over here I'm going to punch in my handle, which is JM. Incidentally, if you're not following me, please say hello and follow. And basically what you see happen up on the screen is we have 3 tweet screens. You have the MuseEd chat in the middle. This is going to be all the information that people are talking about specific to chat. Over on the right is me. And so anything I say or anything anybody says to me, I'll be able to see. And then on the left, if it's a MuseEd chat, I'm probably going to punch in Andy Zweibel's name or whoever is one of the hosts so I can see what they're saying. Wow. And this is all done through using hashtag, and it allows us to be anywhere in the world and focus on a particular topic. You can see that Andy just and you can see that he just came on because he sent. I'm going to pull this on real quick. Okay. And I have to apologize about the video, ladies and gentlemen, in the beginning of this, but I'm going to open this up to a couple of questions. So if you have a question, go ahead and click your little raise your hand, and I'll try and unmute your audio. Wow, there's a lot of people online. No idea.
Sure.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Dale.
Okay, Dale. Okay, I see Dale. All right, I'm going to unmute you right now. Here we go. Oh, Dale doesn't have a microphone.
She's unmuted.
How about anyone? Okay, well, okay.
Go ahead, Dale.
I didn't see he had a microphone on my thing.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I raised my hand. That's what they wanted to do.
Okay, Dale, we can hear you. Okay. Well, that's okay. That's all right. All right, so, okay, at this time, we have Dale. Dale, I'm not sure what he did on that, but if you have any questions about PLNs or the MuseEd chat, go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll go ahead and unmute your microphone. So I'm going to just pull me up the participants right now. So I can see more of the screen. There we go.
Just so you're
Andy, we're going to...
I'll unmute him.
I'm going to do it right now here, I think. Okay, great.
Go ahead, Andy.
Hey. So, Joe, when's the next time that I can participate in a MuseEd chat?
Yeah, that's a great question, huh? That's so if you want to really put it in the MuseEd chat, get ready. 9 minutes. The topic actually is related. Andy, what is the exact topic today?
The exact topic today is focused on using the internet for professional development, which is something we just hit on. The exact topic is, what role does the internet serve in professional development for music teachers, and how can it help us get more out of our professional development?
Very cool. So you can join us in 8 minutes on the MuseEd chat, and we'll get a handle on that. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Here we go, George. We're gonna bring you on right now. Go ahead if you want to do that, Mr. Jim.
George, you're good.
Jim, I should say.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
We can hear you just
Okay.
fine.
I was just curious what you were using to build the music PLN.
Okay, that's a great question. And, I have to tell you, I spent a lot of time, literally weeks, determining what I was going to use. Initially, I thought, okay, I'm going to use Ning. And then I really didn't like what Ning gave me in a number of ways. So I looked at sprues. I looked at groups. I looked at all told, I looked at 9 different ones. I looked at Go Social. I looked at a whole bunch of things. And in the end, I decided to use the open source platform called BuddyPress. And that's a little bit of a risk if you know anybody that uses WordPress, because BuddyPress, although it's been around for a couple of years now, it is only in the last 6 months becoming, I don't want to call it stable because it is stable. It's being used quite a bit now. But what that allows me to do, and some of the other folks that are on the launch team, is we can customize that any way that we want. Because myself, I know a little bit of programming, I know a little bit of coding. Andy is helping with some of that as well. And in the end, I think you're going to see a product that you can't get anywhere else yet. And I can say that with relative authority because I tried to get it elsewhere because, to be honest with you, the last thing I wanted to do this summer was have to kind of build scratch site. Although, again, it is open source. And it's integratable with information, but to answer your question, you go to buddypress.org, buddypress.org. You'll see that software. Great question.
Thanks.
Any other questions we have here? Okay, we get time for maybe about one more question. Okay, Brad, we'll take your question.
Okay. Brad, you're on.
Yeah. With the amount of information that you gave us and personal learning networks and professional learning networks, have you found any good aggregators and ways to combine it all so we don't have to go through hundreds of pages?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I have to tell you, that's a great question because I have to tell you, that's one of my personal goals is to be able to how can we get better information out to people. And to that end, I can tell you I have a couple of things that I work with. The first one I'm going to tell you, which is the easiest one to use right now, is another custom site that I did in WordPress called musicednews.com. That is actually aggregating, I think, over full rate. Now, that being said, the aggregator at this point is a program called Blog, B-L-O-G, Bridge. Blog Bridge. It's an incredible social aggregator. It'll aggregate social sites. It aggregates RSS feeds. In addition to that, if you're looking for something a little bit easier to use for aggregation software, if it's just social sites that you're looking to aggregate, Tweet's incredible, Hootsuite is incredible, but if you're looking to pull in RSS feeds, there's a real new one by Microsoft that just came out, which has incredible potential for making all this easier for everybody. It's called Spindex, S-P-I-N-D-E-X. It is an incredible, I believe they're out of beta now. I'm fairly certain that I got to sign up for it about maybe a month ago, but I think they're out of beta. I think you can sign up for that. It is incredibly easy to integrate RSS feeds and social as well. If you go to Music, you type in, I don't have my chat window open here. Open this up real quick. Just go to musetech.net and you look up project PO-EM. There's some instructions on there. I kind of take a list of some great music ed sites that have RSS feeds, and I combine them all into this really complicated thing called an OPML file. But you can take that file and you can go into Blog Bridge or you can go to Google Reader and you can just import that, and it's going to open up 100 relevant feeds for you. So you can check that out. It's a very, very, very cool thing. Okay, we have time for one more question. Is there anyone else with another question? I can't see all these. Okay, anyone else with one more question? All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, guys, for the technical difficulty, it's going to take it'll be on musetech.net. It'll have some clickable links. And it'll be available for you. But ladies and gentlemen, I really want to thank you for coming. I want to thank Jim for having this and SoundTree for sponsoring this. You can find it's kind of interesting if you look at the list of people that are here. It's kind of like a who's list of people that are actually active right now in PLNs in Web 2.0. I encourage you to check out Twitter, check out the MuseEd chat that's going to happen here in about 4 minutes. Get online, say hello, and collaborate with us. We're all looking to do things together. We'll be glad to help out. So thanks for coming, and I hope you enjoyed the webinar.
Okay, before you go, everyone, first of all, this is Jim, and I'd like to thank Joe for doing such a great job presenting. This was fantastic, and I hope it's the first of many of these types of events with this particular PLN that we're all involved with. Just to remind you all, for those of you who entered the webinar late, if you go to the SoundTree site and go on our store as a way to thank you for attending the webinar, there is a coupon code that you can use on our store that will get you 10% off any purchase, and that coupon code is Twitter2010, and it doesn't expire. So you can use that for any purchase on our online store as a way to say thank you for attending. And we're going to end the webinar right now so that we can all jump on to Twitter and start our MuseEd chat. So, Joe, thanks again, and thanks everyone else for joining. Hope to see you on a future webinar. Thank you.